Hey, what's up guys and welcome back to Anime King. And today I'm going to be giving you part 4 of what if Naruto had the red Rinnegan and was neglected. Remember to get this one to 300 likes as usual, share this to all of your friends in your social media platform, and stay in tune for what if Naruto became the god of wind. And I'm also going to be posting a new episode of What If Naruto learned the clone's secret in the beginning over an Anime King 2. So stay tuned for that, and I do hope that you guys enjoy. And remember, if you're new and this is the first time hearing my voice and you enjoy the videos on both Anime King and Anime King 2, go ahead and click that red subscribe button and become a part of the Anime King family. And thank you for all of your help and support. Remember to comment down below and tell me if you're new. I'll be replying talking back to all of you. So yeah, without further ado, what do you say we begin this new episode? Begin the intro. So, the last time we left off, as Naruto disguised himself as a little kid, going around as he enjoyed the festival that was hosted by him. The reason why he pretended to be a kid, because he didn't want the other people to see him everywhere and just bow down like that. He wanted to have fun, he didn't want them to be on edge. So he put on makeup and new lenses to block his Rinnegan, as these subjects are well aware to see through genjutsu after their intense training. As Naruto had fun with 3 of the girls there that was on his main squad. By nighttime the next morning, Naruto woke up. The 3 girls were in his bed. Yes, the relationship was kept private by them. As Naruto then went to a meeting with 3 of his top heads. As he told them to send the letters, Minato got one. As Minato was surprised it was from Naruto. As Naruto warned him in the letter if he ripped it up he would know instantly. But Minato ripped it up and said that he would kill Naruto himself. But that was a really bad mistake. Naruto also tested himself against one of his guards. The man was surprised when Naruto put him down to the ground in a second. Naruto's eyes were so advanced he could see things to make the world look like it was frozen in time. 2 hits and the man was on the ground, as he had to go to the medical station. So with that, Naruto went down to earth by himself. No guards, no one, just him. As he went to Konoha. Meanwhile, as Minato Jr. won't answer, he wanted to know about his siblings. The mission report that he got, it was just something was wrong about it. As he was invited over for dinner, team dinner by Sakura. Sasuke was in the hospital after their battle, as Minato Jr. managed to bring him back to the village. As Sakura's mother was one of the people who went on that mission, but even she knew that it was a sham. As Minato planned it all to give away the twins to Orochimaru, to make it seem like they had been taken by someone who kidnapped them, but that was all a lie. As Mibuki had liked the twins, and not to mention she never had children of her own. She was unable to, as Sakura was her adopted daughter that she found in the orphanage. As Mibuki became rather flustered when Minato Jr. asked her the questions. She told him that she had something to do and went off. As Minato made all of them keep this a secret, not wanting the other people in the village to know that he was the one who actually gave away the twins. He still wanted everyone to believe that they were taken. Meanwhile, Naruto had brought his sister's body, as he put their body inside of the King of Hell. When the Shinigami show up, the Shinigami was rather angry because he wanted Minato's soul, but Hiruzen jumped in the way and he had to take Hiruzen's soul, so that is why he held on to Naruko's body. He wouldn't give her back until Naruto gave him someone who cheats death. So Naruto kidnaps Nade and got information from her. As Nade woke up in her bed, thinking that it was a bad dream, seeing whoever that was. As Naruto went underneath Konoha after getting the information, as he was going for Danzo, Naruto had 2 spies in Konoha, 2 kids that he placed in the orphanage, and Sai was one of them. And Sai was loyal to Naruto and so was the other spy. And now that Sai was in Danzo's ranks, It was easy for Naruto to get down there. As he made his way, he could sense the numerous amount of root ninjas coming his way. As he knew where Danzo was. But it's time for Danzo to pass off, so he could pay the Shinigami and get his sister back. So yeah guys, that was basically as we left off. You guys can switch across the place and check it out for yourself. So, what do you say we begin this new episode? Currently, Sai was on a mission, a secret mission towards the Hidden Mist to investigate the claim that there was a king that took over the Hidden Mist. Some boy who was going around, commanding a large kingdom with powerful warriors. When Naruto had got the information from him where Danzo was, he could hear it in Sai's voice. Sai wanted to be there, but Naruto reassured him that it was fine. He just wanted to know where Danzo is. Sai told Naruto everything, where all 5 entries of the base were, where all the exits were, and the size of the base, and the number of ninjas down there. A few root agents had gone on a separate mission to Demon Country to steal an artifact, but besides that, and Sai's team on their way to carry the others were still inside the base. The information was more than enough for him as he made his way down there. Naruto stopped 10 feet above the ground floor. The fire orb was still around him, lighting the way. As Naruto sent it down, as he saw the numerous amount of plain masked ninjas just standing there, all on their guard, Naruto's eyes pulsed, making all of them freeze. As he raised his hand, all of them were lifted off the ground. As Naruto closed his palm, all of them flew towards each other and smashed into each other. Naruto then clenched his fist tighter as their bones started to snap, breaking on each other's body. Blood exploded from their bodies, but before any of it could touch Naruto, it simply fell down to the ground, because he had control of everything. As bones broke, necks snapped, as the bodies kept on grinding together to create a ball of pure blood and bone and flesh. As Naruto then sent the fire orb towards it, that enveloped the bodies, incinerating everything, as he had control over the fire that made it larger. A smirk came on his face as he made his way towards the other root ninjas. This would be fun. It didn't matter how much root ninjas trained or what they went through, they were still no match to face the Rinnegan King. As Naruto made his way to the other room, all of them crashed down on him, ready to kill him at any moment notice. When they were close enough to slice his throat, the world simply slowed down. As Naruto looked at every single one of them that were coming to try and kill him, there were 65 of them as he counted them. Naruto lowered his head as he extended his arms, as 2 bright laser beams exploded from the center of his palm. He then spun around. Bodies were sliced into pieces, because for Naruto everything was moving slow, but their bodies were being sliced up. As he stopped and extended his arms, the world returned back to normal. Almighty push, he said. All the body parts were sent sailing, blowing to different parts of the underground base. As Naruto then started to walk again, there was a lot of seals in this place, so anything that happened down here, Konoha wouldn't feel it. Every step that Naruto took, the underground base shook violently. The thudding became louder and louder as he approached the arena. As he arrived at a massive door, there was at least 7 dozen ninjas behind it. All of them stood in fighting stances, tightly gripping their weapons and their fists. As the door was blasted open, as Naruto looked around, he was in an arena. The place was rather large. It was like the stadium for tuning exams. "Kill him," said a voice, as that voice seemed to come from Danzo. As Naruto looked around, he was surrounded by all the ninjas that came down on him like rain pouring. Naruto spun as he decided to have some fun, smashing his fist into the face of a shinobi. A blade came to his side as he slapped it away, as he spun and drove his heel right into a ninja's stomach, knocking him back into another one. He caught a fist as he pulled the man towards him, grabbed the man by his throat, and smashed him into the ground, snapping the man's neck. As Naruto picked up the body and threw it, blocking a deadly fire jutsu that came from one of them. As Naruto spun and drove his fist right into the torso of one of them as blood came out of the man's mouth. He snapped the left knee of one of the ninjas and grabbed him by the throat, spinning him around, blocking several kunais. As he threw the man into another barrage of man, he then grabbed one of them hand and snapped it before spinning him around, knocking the fourth him. He then flipped him as he kicked him straight up in the ceiling as the man's body connected right into it. Naruto then dashed forward as he struck four of them right in their chest. The four men spit out blood before they collapsed on the ground dead. As Naruto then ducked several swords, trying to take off his head, before all of the swords snapped out of the root operative's hands. As Naruto then reached up and grabbed them, as he threw them with tremendous speed, slicing right through their mass, piercing through their skull. As his eyes flashed all around the room, there was still at least 60 of them. As one of them broke out of the ground, driving a blade straight up towards Naruto's chin, Naruto grabbed the blade, as he then grabbed the man by his face and twisted him before throwing him straight up in the ceiling as the man's head smashed right into it. The man's body hung like a chandelier. As the man then rushed towards him with several explosive tags, Naruto reached the man in a second before the man could blink, as he smashed his hand right into the man's face. The man went dizzy before Naruto grabbed the back of his neck and snapped it around. Before grabbing all of the explosive tags, he threw them forward. Naruto then jumped away as they exploded. He then dipped right into the man's pouch, pulled out several kunais, as he threw them all around, slicing right through several root operatives. As he held on to 3 shurikens, he then spun around and launched them, as 2 other ninjas jumped from left and right, coming down with their blades. Naruto didn't even move as their bodies suddenly stopped, as their heads exploded. Danzo was shocked to say at least, watching 60 plus of his ninjas just got slaughtered by this teenage boy. Danzo stumbled away as he couldn't believe what he just witnessed. As Danzo quickly made his way towards the other room, Naruto followed after him in a calm pace. He still had about 10 more minutes before the King of Hell fully healed his sister's body. Still, the monkeys and Drillbeat Bird was keeping good watch, and he could also see right through their eyes. He wanted to bring back his sister so much it was painful, but he also wanted one of the top 5 most hated persons in his list to die. Danzo was that person. He always came by Orochimaru Lab. He always made them knew that they would be nothing but servants of Konoha, and once he killed Minato, that they would serve him. Yes, he blatantly said that to them, thinking that there was no way that they could ever escape. They would stay here for the rest of their life. How wrong he was. Naruto leaned down as he picked up a Tonto and flashed it, flashing off the blood. As 2 ninjas came forward, Naruto simply slashed right through them and keep on moving. Another one came as Naruto threw the blade. It pierced right through the man. Even with their speed, Naruto was just far advanced and faster than them. Another one then came behind him as Naruto tilted his head, grabbing the blade and snapping it with force. He then grabbed the man's head and spun him, as he held onto the man's neck before snapping it. As he walked through the lifeless shinobi straight towards Danzo, as Danzo finally stopped, as they were in another training arena, as Naruto stopped as well. "Do you know who I am?" Naruto asked, as Danzo's eyes looked rather nervous. "I thought you were dead." "I still have a lot to live for," said Naruto. "Then you made the mistake of coming here, brat." "I thought this," Naruto said, extending his arms, "will be more than enough to quell your pride. But I see that you're still nothing more than a foolish old man." Danzo clenched his walking stick as he pointed at Naruto, as a sharp blade came out of the base. "You still don't know what respect means, even after all the conditioning. I knew I should have pressed harder to take you and your sister away from the vile snake," he said, getting angry when he saw the small smile on Naruto's face. "We both hated you, you know, me and my sister. We wanted to hang your guts all over Konoha and dance on your heart. You both were, and still are weak," said Danzo. "Oh yes," Danzo said as smirk. "That filthy sister of yours, she was killed, right?" All of the smile left Naruto's face in an instant, as he tilted his head to the side. "I watched a video of that snake slicing her throat. Your screams, they were very amusing." As Danzo did not notice that the lights around him started dim, as Naruto Rinnegan started to pulsate, getting brighter as Danzo spoke. "The funniest part of that was when she was dying, and she told you not to worry about her." As Danzo started to laugh, she was more worried about what will happen to you than herself. Only a naive, Danzo then started to cough as an invisible hand wrapped around his throat. He reached up to claw at his neck, but nothing was there, as he struggled because nothing was there to pry off of it. As he dropped his cane, Danzo smashed down into the ground, his knees pressing down hard. As Naruto stepped forward, "You just call my sister naive," said Naruto, as he smashed his foot right under Danzo's chin. Danzo's head smacked against the wall with great force. "She was the light of my life," said Naruto, as the base started to shake even more. He smashed his foot into Danzo's chest, causing Danzo to wheeze up and coughed up a lot of blood. She was my soul. As Naruto smashed his foot in Danzo's face this time, Danzo hit the wall hard once again, crashing down on his face looking almost lifeless. Naruto grabbed Danzo by the back of the head and lifted him up. Your soul will be the price I pay to get her back. You should be glad that your worthless existence will bring back my angel. As Naruto drive his fist right into Danzo's stomach, not even releasing the hole that he had around Danzo's neck, and bashed Danzo's body hard enough against the wall to leave a massive dent. As Danzo's body then collapsed down, as it then lifted up in the air as Naruto started to walk off, the body following behind him, as Naruto flew out of the base towards the cemetery. As Naruto mentally ordered the centipedes that were on the trees to open up and let the wild animals come in here to eat the dead bodies. He then tapped his ear. Patch me over to Sai. Yes, my lord, the voice. As a second later he heard another voice. Sai here, my lord. I want you to kill the root operatives with you. Find as many as possible and kill them as well. Make sure you take care of their bodies. I'll give you 3 days. That will be more than enough, my lord Naruto. I swear on my life to complete this mission. As he could hear Sai draw the kunai. Would there be anything else, my lord? Sai asked. Yes, I want you to remain in Konoha to look after my brother. When the time comes, you and the other spy will meet up with those in the Akatsuki. But for now, remain unsuspicious. As Naruto made his way out of the exit as the wild animals started to go inside, the centipedes also vanishing. As Naruto kept on flying with Danzo's body towards the graveyard. Your wish is my command, my king, said Sai. As Naruto disconnected, as he made his way. As Naruto landed as Danzo's body crashed right into a tree, Naruto didn't really care. 2 monkeys then emerged as they grabbed Danzo by the shoulders. Naruto looked over towards Danzo. The monkey towards his other side ripped out Danzo's bandage and saw the eye. As the monkey ripped out the eye, making Danzo cry out in pain. The other monkey then ripped off the arm with Hoshirama cells, leaving him with only 1 arm and his eye was bleeding badly. Naruto saw there was a seal that was going to activate after Danzo had died. Orochimaru was the one that gave Danzo the seal, but he didn't care. Naruto clapped his hand. Outer Path, Samsara, of Heavenly Light technique. As the King of Hell opened his mouth wide, the monkeys brought Danzo over as Naruto grabbed him by his face. Are you scared, Danzo? Before he could get a reply, Naruto ripped out Danzo's soul. As Naruto looked up, as he threw the soul towards the Shinigami. Give her to me, said Naruto, as Shinigami got Danzo's soul and swallowed it. Fine, the Shinigami said, as he disappeared, leaving behind a small ball of light. The soul then went down and went through the top of the King of Hell's head. As Naruto slowly approached the King of Hell, his legs moving a bit shakily. It was an hour now and he knew that her body was fully healed. As a bright light emerged, tears started to stream down Naruto's eyes as he saw those eyes open looking back at him. Beautiful purple eyes. As he saw the look in her eyes, she remembered who he was as well. As Naruto started to wipe away the tears, hands then reached up and grabbed his cheek. As he looked up into his hair because his hair was shadowing his eyes. Why are you crying, bro? The girl that spoke looked to be about his age with flawless, pale white skin and straight long red hair that went down to her lower back. And she had bright purple eyes and 2 big bangs coming down to her face. Her facial features were just as you remember them, but a bit more mature. That small nose that always crinkled every time she was angry. She was wearing a red dress that went below her knees just a bit. Though she had no shoes, it didn't stop her from approaching him. As Naruto sniffled a bit, I'm not crying, he said. She giggled. She knew how stubborn he was. Yes, you were, she said. Her voice was a bit different, but it still sounded the same way to him. Her body merely ran through the years that she was supposed to be if she was alive. As she was now 16 years old. She was exactly the same height as him. Naruto quickly grabbed and hugged her tightly. I missed you, sis. Naruko smiled softly as she hugged her brother back, leaning her head on his shoulder. I miss you too, bro. So much, she said. The King of Hell went back down to the underworld as the 2 siblings sat on the ground. Naruto still had something to do in Konoha before he go towards the Hidden Rain, but for now he wanted to talk to his sister. That night, for years now, a large, true smile spread on Naruto's face. That was the same on Naruko's face as well, as the both of them talk and talk. As Naruko puffed out her cheeks. Come on, don't be like that, said Naruto. You can eat as much as you want, you've been dead for 7 years. As Naruto pulled out a scroll and opened it, there was a large poof. There was many food on the ground. Never in her life has she seen this much food, because when she was with Orochimaru, all of that torture, they was never given such luxury. I brought this just in case, he said. She looked at him with teary eyes. Thank you, bro, she said. Don't worry about it, said Naruto, as she started to chow down on the food, making Naruto just smile as he watched her, as she giggled and wiped her mouth a bit. That made Naruto just laugh as he watched her. Time skip. Orochimaru always told Naruto and Naruko that he would create a specialized group of ninjas who were to serve under him as his enforcers. They would be called the Zone 4, but the group was never really created because Orochimaru wanted to take his time to pick out who would be in the group. He chose to use 4 of the slaves that he was brainwashing: Seikon, Ukon, Kidomaru, and Teiwaya, and Jirobo. At that time, Naruto and his sister were 8, and the chosen 4 they were 6. The 3 males were easy to mold, but Teiwaya, she was a rather thick-headed girl. She never stayed one place, and she always cursed. It was hard for Orochimaru to, well, break her. He wanted him to be loyal. He didn't want him to be insane, but Teiwaya had a rather foul mouth. But Orochimaru still wanted her. So, to make them loyal, he gave all of them the curse mark. As we now have dark, brown eyes looking through a binoculars, as she was lying on top of a building. As she was rather camouflaged. She looked to be about 14 years old, wearing an envu, grey, brown, and white desert camo pants, and wearing a brown shirt with shiny silver armor underneath her clothes. And she was wearing silver boots as well that were very light, but they looked very heavy, as they were connected to her silver rank armor that she was wearing underneath that. Around her nose and her mouth was a scarf to block out the sun, as her long red hair was going down her shoulders, and a long, thin bang went right down the middle of her face that touched her nose. Her hair didn't distract her though, as she looked through her binoculars. Beside her was a weapon of choice, something that Orochimaru had been working on. It was the only one that exists right now, as Orochimaru called it a sniper rifle. As she was currently watching the Sand siblings as they sat in the Kazekage's office discussing what they had discovered about the recent invaded countries, as Temaru was waving a letter in the air as she read it. As the spy that was watching her read her lips. This king of Sakai sounds like a dangerous guy, but he's ordering us to submit to him, said Temaru. Gaara sighed as he rubbed his forehead tiredly. They have been in this office for the past 3 hours, yelling about what to do with the information they got from the spring. The Sakai forces was the most powerful he had ever heard of. It was good that the Sakai king did not order for this country to be completely wiped off the map. So many deaths would have been a big mess. Temari, sit down. Temari sit back down as she threw the letter back to Gaara. Are you saying that you're gonna let this guy just walk all over you? I did not say I will lie down for anyone, but you will not deny you have heard what the report of this man and his army of monsters can do. People tend to exaggerate when their lives are in danger, Temari said. I was there, you know, said Kankuro. Both of them looked over towards Kankuro. After their brother had returned from a simple escort mission toward the spring, and he ran into the Sakai forces, he was never the same. He described what happened to him. After doing his mission, he was simply walking through the market, and then these dark shadows simply dropped down all around him. Before he could do anything, he was knocked in the back of the neck. He heard the soldiers say that they recognized him as a brother to the Kazekage, and that Lord Naruto would not be pleased if an emissary of the Sun was killed. So they picked him up and forced him to watch, as they took over the village with ease. Temari and Gaara was concerned. All Kankuro was doing was fixing his puppet arsenal. One of the ninjas, he said that he didn't care. He would soak the ground with blood as long as it made their king happy. They laughed. They killed people like they were squashing flies. And they laughed, said Kankuro, remembering what he saw. Kankuro, how about you go and rest at home? We can handle this, said Gaara, seeing the state that his brother was in. Kankuro dropped his tools that he was using to fix his puppets. Handle this? 2 hours of bickering in the council and 1 hour of bickering. And this is what you call handling it? No, I will not go home and rest. That monster, he's coming. I don't have time to rest, he said as his body quivered with suppressed emotion. The spy smirked as she read their lips. Damn, sir. You got this guy pissing right in his pants. She giggled as she readjusted her binoculars. 3 hours of training and she wasn't tired. She had went through worse in the training regime in the Sakai Academy. She was once also buried by hot, scalding sand by Orochimaru for an experiment. She then felt a buzz in her ear and she tapped it twice. Who the hell is this? I'm busy. Well, busy. This is Shinigura. Oh, hey there, bitch. How's it going, said Teiwaya? Oh, I'm good, said Shinigura. Hey, I'm coming over to visit. What the hell, said Teiwaya, as she had to calm herself because she wanted to keep hidden. Why the hell are you coming here? She didn't hate Shinigura. Well, she was a bit salty that the maid was close to the king that she was, and that was a sore spot for her. Oh, our master sent me here to assist you, said Shinigura. Don't you dare lie to me with his name, said Teiwaya. I will never lie with master name, said Shinigura. Well, it seems like you're just jealous that master allows me into his confidence. And you know, he lets me into more than his confidence, little girl, said Shinigura. Listen here, you old hag. If master wanted me in his bedroom, all he had to do was ask. He even gave me my rank himself. Do you get me, you slut? Lord Naruto trusts me. So, if I see you here, you bitch, then what? Shinigura whispered right in Teiwaya's ear. As Teiwaya dropped the binoculars and spun around and held the senbon right to her throat, Shinigura simply swiped the needle and threw it right to the roof. How the hell did he get in here? As the blanket that was over her was a creation of the Fuinjutsu department and the invention department. It could hide chakra centers and it was cool underneath, so she was well hidden. Magic, that's how, said Shinigura. Don't screw with me, hag, said Teiwaya. I won't, said Shinigura. Screw you, said Teiwaya. I thought you said I shouldn't, asked Shinigura. Just shut it and don't get in my way. Since Naruto had sent her, then she had to tolerate Shinigura. But seriously, is there anything to report? Shinigura asks. Well, they're leading towards tearing up the letter. Does Lord Naruto want me to assassinate them if they do? Asked Teiwaya. He ordered us to wait 6 days. 5 days as of today, before we can take care of them. Didn't you tell all spies this? Oh, I might have zoned out here and there. I heard that you were with Lord Naruto in Lightning and Water Country. So, well, Master was very commanding. All 3 countries bowed down under his might. As they should, say Teiwaya. Despite being vile and sometimes hate being controlled, Teiwaya worshipped Naruto and worshipped the ground that her master walked on. He was her hero after all, as she was the one that chose to be a spy after working for 3 years in the academy. It would be a best way to serve her master. The spies was the one that supplied the kingdom with more information and strengthening it, as the spies were a vital part of the king forces after all. But she was here for 2 years now, after she left the academy. But she didn't regret it one bit. She was helping her king and her kingdom. So, what about the Jinchuriki? Asked Teiwaya. One of the moles in that S-rank organization, the Akatsuki, told me that they have 4 tail beasts now. And I heard the 2, 3, and 8 tails are in the kingdom now. King Naruto wants to turn them to his side. But if they're against him, it's just a matter of sealing them into people. And there were hundreds, if not thousands of people that was willing to have the beast sealed inside of them, just to serve their master better. So the 1, 4, 3, 5, and 6 tails are going to be resealed. But the 2 and 8 tails have a chance to live. Shinigura nodded. Damn, said Teiwaya. As Shinigura chuckled, I know. Teiwaya then looked over. Huh, they signed it. Shit, I was hoping to kill them, she said. So what now? We are to stay until the days are up and watch them. If they decide to shred the agreement, we are to take them down when the time comes. But don't worry, you can use your rifle or your flute later. If Master sends us to Earth or Fire Country, both Daimyo, Fire and Earth, along with the Tishikage Oniki and the Hokage Minato had torn the letter to shreds. A notification came up immediately after they did so. And the smaller villages, the Hidden Star, the Hidden Darkness, the Hidden Fang, they have all shredded their letters. But the remainders, like Waterfall and the Hidden Tree Village, all signed their letters. Teiwaya rubbed her hand in her gun. I want to use this puppy to blow holes in people for Master, she said with a smile, as the both of them continued to talk. Meanwhile, at Konoha, you did what? A bored voice answered Jiraiya. Jiraiya grabbed his hair. Why would you do that? As he held onto his own spiked white hair. I don't make deals with the devil, said Minato, as he had a scroll on his desk with a burst in his hand. That beast needs to be taken down. Jiraiya smashed his fist on the table, throwing away a few papers with the force of the fist, even turned over the ink pot. Why didn't you wait for Kakashi to report? Why didn't you wait for me to get back to you, Jiraiya asked. Minato glared back. Last time I checked, I am the Hokage. I made decision for this village, me, not you, not the council. as both of them kept on glaring at each other. That is until Jiraiya sighed as he slumped down into the couch. You don't understand, kid. Naruto has the Rinnegan, the strongest dojutsu on the planet. The eyes that can bring about creation or destruction as we know it. I trained a kid with a Rinnegan once and I learned so much about it, you wouldn't even understand. But I will try my best to break it down so it can get into your thick skull. Nagato had perfect control of his massive chakra reserves. He could easily control and master all 5 nature transformation, including the yin and yang release. Do you know how many years it took Sarutobi Sensei to master all 5? It took Sensei 10 years to truly master them. But Nagato had already mastered all 5 before I met him, and he was only 6 years old when I met him and the others, Jiraiya yelled. As Minato still glared at Jiraiya, who just toppled all over his papers with the ink when he knocked the decks. His Rinnegan was able to make use of 6 abilities, all of them that were overpowered, S rank at the best. His weakest attack was ripping out your goddamn soul. Minato got up as he walked away towards the next part of the library. If you think all of that is going to change my... But he was cut off. Naruto Rinnegan is much more powerful than Nagato's, Jiraiya yelled. As Minato stopped and looked over his shoulder. How do you know that? How are you so sure? Did you not watch the video? The report? What more proof do you need? Naruto can pop heads to that thought. As he placed a hand on Minato's shoulder. List the reason, Minato. Minato shrugged off Jiraiya's hand as he turned, poking Jiraiya in the chest with his finger. That shit stain is not a threat. He's just a pest that refused to die. And I'll be the one to kill him. And how the hell do you plan on doing that? Naruto can use all 6 paths. He has perfect chakra control of all 5 chakra nature. And he already has a large chakra reserves being at Uzumaki. And he must be pissed as hell that you threw him to that goddamn snake. A memory then came to Jiraiya as he slumped down. And you indirectly killed his sister. Everyone knew how much they love each other. That was obvious. Jiraiya sighed as he felt regret. The kids never did anything to him. Matter of fact, little children's was nothing but friendly every time they saw him. No one wanted to be their friend though, even their babysitters, Itachi and Shisui. But the kids always smile and play with each other. The whole village stay away from them, but they always smile. They were being bullied by the other kids, but they still smile. And Jiraiya had all the opportunity to bring them closer and took care of them. But he allowed Minato to throw them to the snake. Now he was feeling deep regret. But Naruko, she had been killed in the most painful way a child could be put through. And Naruto was forced to watch. As Jiraiya closed his eyes, holding in the tears. As Minato was going through the bookshelf, looking through books. If the village had only treated them better, this global threat should have been easily avoided. They are the reason the love of my life lost her mind. They are the reason Junior has to live without a mother, said Minato. No, said Jiraiya, as his voice sounded anger, rage building up inside him. The one to blame is the person who unsealed the Kyuubi 16 years ago. The hate you have for those sweet children, the hate you have for them is useless and disgusting. They did not ask to be born, they did not ask for any of that. They did not ask for that man to be attacked, to rip the 9 tails from Kushina. They did not ask for anything. They were just born into your hate. Now, Naruko is dead and Naruto has a Rinnegan. Face it, Minato, he is a child of hate. As Minato was holding on to a book about sealing away dojutsu, the Toad Prophecy. As Minato stood there, remembering what Toad said. The words, blood, would soak the ground like a monster even the heavens cannot stain. Earth will tremble under the iron boots. The ones who faithfully serve the master of every path. The ones who wield creation and destruction, but he alone will be the god of wrath. The child of hate sired by a demon blood and light. From the sky all will bow down at his might. It all made sense now, Minato thought to himself. He sighed. I was always so skeptic when it came to prophecy anyway, he said, as he pulled out the book on sealing away dojutsu. Jiraiya simply sighed. Leave killing him to me. Just take care of sending off the message to the countries who haven't signed his damn scroll. Jiraiya shook his head. Yes, Lord Hokage, he said. What about the Akatsuki? They already have 4 tail beasts, and I suspect that they are the one who took the 2, 3, and 8 tails. Surely we cannot ignore that threat. At the moment, they're far less important than Sakai Kingdom. And they're, he grind his teeth. King, after we finish with them, we can go back to the Akatsuki and deal with them also. Jiren nodded as he left to talk to other countries that ally with Konoha to fight the Sakai Kingdom. I need to find a way to get the Harushin seal on him. His head would roll before he even knew it, thought Minato, as he went over and started to refresh himself on the complex of sealing jutsu. It wasn't that he forgotten, he just wanted to make everything perfect so his son can die at all costs. He didn't want to make any mistakes. As he sent a letter with Jiraiya to all of the countries to help fight against the Sakai Kingdom. Now, he just had to wait till Jiraiya returned the good news. Meanwhile, at Konoha Hospital, the two twins were walking. The both of them were exactly the same height, the same build, even though she was more feminine. The same red hair, and the both of them had the same sheer mentality. Though there were slight different behaviors, if it wasn't for that the twins was seen as a completely same entity. Even Shisui said it, that, well, as a joke, that they were probably born holding hands. Even if the both of them weren't at the same place, it's always seemed like the both of them were just connected by thought somehow. It was like their souls were touching sometime. And Naruko wasn't any slouch either, even though that she had been dead for several years. Her body had still went that extreme training from their godfather. When she was 6, she was able to bench press 300 pounds due to the chemicals being pumped into her. Well, she was able to keep up with her brother, but only to an extent. Well, she wasn't as strong as Naruto, but she wasn't weak either compared to normal people, or normal ninjas. It was currently nighttime now as they were in the psychiatric hole. As the siblings were currently speeding through the second floor, they had gained entry simply by throwing an illusion over them to look like the workers, as the both of them made their way towards the special ground for special patients. As Naruko stopped as she pointed and gave him one finger up as he understood there was only one person. Naruto was exterminated, Danzo was dead, Snappy was eased to handle with. Jiraiya wouldn't be much difficult, but they still wanted Konoha to put up a fight because they wanted to have their entertainment, and Naruko, she didn't really mind because she just went along with what Naruto said. As Naruto counted down 3, 2, 1, the man came out as Naruto smashed his foot right into the man's face, as Naruko punched the man right into his groin, making him come back up as Naruto kneed him right in the face. That sent his body crashing into the wall. Both brother and sister grinned as they share a fist bump. Wicked, said Naruko. 7 years apart, and we still got it, Naruto finished for her. As they stepped over the tuning guard, the man was thrown into the closet by Naruto gravity control. Why do you want us to be subtle again? Just us two can burn this village to the ground, said Naruko as she looked up, looking through the windows at the mental patients. Believe me, sis, I know. No one stand a chance against us, not even father. But remember all the plans we made when we were staying back with Godfather. Force the world onto their knees and take Konoha last. We wanted to see that it's coming, and that they couldn't do nothing to stop it. I know, she said, but I'm getting impatient, bro. Father is just a few hundred feet away right now. We can leave Konoha for now, but let's just cut off his head. Please, she said. Naruto reached up as he pinched her right on her cheek. Trust me on this, sis. If you let him stew in his hate and madness, then life will be more enjoyable. She sulked, but Naruto patted her right on the head. We can still go for ice cream, he said. Fine, she said with a smile. The two of them then finally reached the door that he wanted. As Naruto reached up and touched the door, a steel array appeared. As Naruko watched as the door started to shift the steel array until everything was gone. She did not know any seals, or jutsu for that matter, so watching her brother do this, it was amazing. There was a click as Naruto pushed the door open. Flashback. Naruto was on the ground, his body in intense pain, but his sister was over him, holding on to him as he was stuck in the cell. Sis, are you there? Naruto asked. He couldn't feel much in his body except for pain, but he felt his body was being whole. His nervous system was completely dead right now, but the fox chakra was fixing up. Yes, I'm here, brother, she said, as she held on to him tight, rubbing his back gently. Do you think mother will love us? He asked. It was a great mystery they were hoping to crack one day. Their father hated the air they breathed, but they never once knew the presence of their mother. The only time that Minato mentioned her was to say they were the reason why she was in her condition. They didn't know that Kushina had lost her mind after losing the Kyuubi, because they were still children. How could they know when it was never said to them? They were still hoping that there was still one person in the world that loved them. During their time in Konoha, they never went out of their way to make friends because everyone gave them a wide berth. Love was only something they knew for each other. Naruko ran her hand through his hair. I love you, brother, she said. I know, sis, but mother. What of mother, he asked. She didn't want to disappoint her brother by telling him that she didn't know. At the moment, the only thing she wanted to do was give her brother as much love as possible. Yes, brother. Mother will love us, she said. Thanks, sis, he said. Don't forget, bro, she said. I love you more than the stars in the skies or the grain of sand in the desert. Naruto held on to her even more. I love you too, sis, he said. End of flashback. Naruko swallowed thick as she felt Naruto took her left hand, taking her out of that memory. As Naruto looked at her with a concerned look on his face, but she smiled at him as he smiled back. As they turned back to the person in front of them, it was a woman with red hair, long as Naruko, with a smaller, less healthy frame. Her arms were wrapped around her torso by a white seal, reinforced straight jacket, and a baggy black pants. Like Naruko, she didn't have any shoes on. As the woman was hunched over, looking like she was having a private conversation with herself. As she was rocking back and forth, sometimes grunting in anger, and then returning back to talking and then singing. As the both of them looked over at the woman started to hum a song. It was the same one that Naruko hummed to Naruto when he was at his lowest. They never knew their mother, but Kakashi Hatake said that Minato once told him when him and Jiraiya came back to the hospital to retrieve the twins. To seal the Kyuubi, they had found the woman huddled up in the corner of the hospital, surrounded by the bloody corpse of her guards and her maternity nurses. As she was holding on to the two twins that she had given birth to, just holding on to them tight. She was trying to sing the same song to the wide-eyed babies with gritted teeth. She twitched and rocked, but she refused to let the insanity going through her make her kill her own children. As Kushina kept on whispering the song over and over, Mommy loves you, my sweet babies. Mommy loves you, my shining darlings. Mommy loves you, my shining stars. Mommy will always be here for you. As she kept on repeating the song over and over again, she has been humming that song for 16 years now. It wasn't easy for either of the twins. They did not know their mother, so they didn't shed any tears as they watched. As the both of them looked at her, but if they found out that she didn't love them, and would have did the same thing that Minato did, they would simply kill her. It wasn't much of a confirmation, but until they restore her sanity, it would have to do. Naruko raised her hand as she fired off two green bursts from her fingers, hitting Kushina right in the neck. As the alarms went off, blue is a heavy-duty dart. Green is a heavy tranquilizer. They are not lethal, said Naruko. Orange and red are the lethal ones, said Naruko. As Naruto nodded, knowing the ability that she has shown, as she gotten them from the amount of experiments from Orochimaru and others. She was similar to a mutant like the others. She could take on the aspects of a fox. The ears would sprout from her head, her nails would elongate, and her eyes would change from human to a fox-like. While Naruto could grow tails from 1 to 9, and his eyes would change towards a Kyuubi fox. Because of the mutation of the amount of experiments done on him, there would be no change in their skeleton system, despite the strengthening of bones. The both of them could sense many chakra signatures coming, as Naruko walked over and picked up her mother and placed her on her shoulder. As Naruto pulled out a cloth with the Sky Country symbol on it, he placed it in the center of the room. Naruto placed his hand towards a wall. Almighty push. Boom! The entire wall was blown to pieces. As Naruko chuckled, impressed at the feat, a massive wind picked up as the bird then descended down, descending and stopping right at the wall. Then Naruto exploded. Naruto held out his hand as Naruko held onto it, as the both of them jumped forward, with Kushina still on Naruko's shoulder. The door, someone started to bang on the other end when the keys wasn't working. As Naruko placed Kushina down in the back of the bird, as she sat down beside Kushina and held her with her hands. Hokage Mountain, said Naruto. The bird flapped his wing twice before it zipped straight to the monument. The both of them sensed the large amount of chakra flashed towards the mental facility. Their father. Their bodies tingled with rage. They wanted to fly back and kill him so much. But they stayed strong. They wanted Konoha to be last. Why the Hokage monument? Asked Naruko. The bird touched down right on the head of second Hokage. I want mother to be taken back home, said Naruto. Naruko nodded, knowing that home meant the Sakai Kingdom, but her eyebrows narrowed. How? Didn't you say that home was all the way south of Kumo? Naruto simply smiled as he tapped his ear. Patch me over to Nora. Scout and retrieval. Patching you over now, my lord. Bro, said Naruko, as he ignored her as she pouted looking at him. Naruto simply smiled. Send over a stealth retrieval vehicle to my location. A stealth vehicle. You would never see it at night. It was in the name after all, stealth vehicle. As the king, I already had the order given for it to have 3 medical division in it. Right away, my king, Nora said, as she was in her office right now, zipping through the name of people who could be the next Jinjulki for the 3 tails, from age 1 to 6. As she was with the head of the Foin Jutsu and the head of the intelligence department, they had got the tail beast at Naruto command after they invaded the water country and they found it in the sea. I will be with you in 4 minutes, sir, said Nora. Take your time, Nerd says he cut the connection. As Naruto turned and smiled at his pouting sister, when I said that our home is the most advanced place on the planet, I was not joking. And she will be here in 4 minutes? How is that possible, bro? Kumo is miles away from here. Through the power of dedication, breakthrough, engineering and seals, Naruto said. Now we have to worry about the Konoha ninja coming before the vehicle gets here. They have dogs trying to sniff us out. As Naruto saw through the eyes of a gecko that was on a wall, disguised, the tiny creature had the same eyes as him. I still think that we should blow this village sky high. Patience, sis. How about you go and kill those that come while we're waiting? Would that make you feel better, Naruto asked. As he pinched her cheeks, she pouted as she slapped his hand away. For now, she said as she turned towards the Konoha ninjas, her features changing as she jogged towards them. Don't forget, we have 2 minutes before the vehicle arrives, said Naruto, calling out to her. More than enough time, she said, as the ears at the side of her head pulled in as on the top 2 fox ears came out. As red fur came, covering the missing ears, as her fingernails and her toenails got sharp and long. She didn't really know many jutsus because her training was focusing on her flexibility and her intense strength and her agility, but she was still more than enough to handle Jonins. 8. Her senses count, as she also smelled the dogs as well, 2 of them. Her long nails changed to silver as she clashed them against each other, making sparks fly. Adamantium bones, that is what her godfather called it. He said that he'd taken DNA from a dead bone pulse user and altered it with the magnetic release of the hidden sand. So she was able to sprout more metal claws from other places of her body. But she enjoyed coming out of her fists, or her knees or elbows. As the first ninja saw her, he thought that it was Kushina Uzumaki, seeing the red hair, but it was too late for him. As she dashed forward and sliced right through his throat. He tried to put up defense, but he was too slow. As she then dropped, moving forward, cracking the ground underneath her. A dog jumped forward, he leaped right under him and grabbed his tail and smashed him right into his owner. As she then smashed the dog into the ground with tremendous force, cracking its skull. She then flipped over and drive her toenails right through the head of the Inuzaka member. She then spin and deliver a brutal right hook to a woman coming towards her. As another man came, as she ripped open his stomach and pulled out his intestines and wrapped her in the woman's neck and pulled it, making the woman stifle to death, bringing the woman's face right on her knee, where one of the claws came out of piercing the woman's skull. As she tossed the woman's body to the side, as she used the other man's body, that she ripped out the intestines and swing it, smashed it into another. As she leaped towards the last Inuzaka, the man slashed at her with a blade, but she passed him. He then cried out in pain as his fingers were sliced off. The dog rushed at her, she spun and smashed her foot right into its face, cracking his skull with one hit. She then jumped towards the man and drew her claws right through his eyes, piercing his brain. As she tossed his body away, as she got up and blew a bang out of her face, she then jogged back over to her brother. If I didn't know any better, I wouldn't say that she was dead just yesterday. He raised his hand as she slapped it in a high five. 7 years in the Shinigami and she still knows how to fight. That was amazing, Naruto said. Oh stop, you're making me blush, she said. Their godfather had been making them train very intensely to better serve Konoha. But what he made was too unstoppable force. As Naruto then saw something drop and bow, as it was Nora with her mask on. Division head of Scout and Retrieval, Nora, reported my lord Naruto. Her head tilted down. Help me transport my mother and my sister back home, please, he said, nodding to Kushina, who was still lying on the ground. Nora snapped her head up as she saw the girl that walked straight over to her master. She looked so much like her king, except more feminine. Is this Lady Naruko, my king? Yes, Nora, this is my sister Naruko. Naruko, this is Nora, Division of Head and Scout and Retrieval. As Nora came closer and bowed deeply, it is an honor to meet the sister of my lord. I am humble. No, it's fine, said Naruko. Please, stand up. As the medics were placing Kushina down in a stretcher, putting a mild sedative in her, so she wouldn't wake up until they reach. Hey, where are you going? Asked Naruko. Hey Doreen, I have a few things to do with here. She crossed her arms. I'm coming too, she said. I know we have a whole lot of catching up to do, but this mission is very important. I want to clear it up and go back home. She narrowed her eyes. Are you saying that I'm a burden? She asked. Come on, said Naruto, you know you're not a burden. She could hold herself well from what he just saw. As the village was in panic right now, as alarms were going off. Then it settled, I'm coming with you. And don't you dare try to knock me out, she said. As he looked at her, but she just looked back at him. Naruto sighed as she smiled. Is there any spare armor in the vehicle? Nora, despite being told to rise, she was still on her knees. She was in the presence of her king, and her king's sister after all. My sincere apology, my lord. I did not know. It's fine. I should have known that she wanted to tag along. As Naruto turned and gave his sister a mild glare, but she simply smiled at him. If you wish, my king, I shall take out my own armor and give it to Naruko. Your armor is your rank. You should wear it with pride, said Naruto. As Nora was wearing the platinum rank, the only rank under the king, after the obsidian rank. You're right as always, my lord, she said. If you didn't mind, is there any underwear or shoes in there? My brother didn't seem to give me any. Besides, her clothes is a bloody mess, and so was her hands. I thought you would have appreciated the privacy, said Naruto. Privacy? Between you and me? What's that, she said. I do not know what privacy between us means. Yes, that was right. They shared everything while they were in Konoha and even outside of Konoha. Why would that change? Yes, my lady, we have spare clothing and equipment in the stealth vehicle. Perfect. Go and bring her new clothes, Naruto said. As he sensed something, his Rinnegan started to flare up. As everything froze, his eyes were seeing everything faster than anyone could. As Nora and Naruko had stopped talking because he was looking around. The entire world seemed like it frozen. Naruto walked over to the retrieval vehicle, where his mother was in a stretcher inside. As the medics were inside, having normal chatter, but Naruto was walking so fast that everything was frozen. He stopped beside her as he saw a seal glowing on her forehead. The Flying Thunder God seal. He could see that the seal was getting brighter and brighter, despite how fast he was moving and how fast his eyes could see, testament to how fast this technique was. Naruto pulled that scroll from his wrist, as he placed it right over her, cushioning her forehead on the seal, as there was a seal written on it. The Fuin Jutsu Absorption Seal. As Naruto ripped it off, the hydrogen seal now on the paper, as he burned it. Back in Kushina's former room, Minato was thrown into the wall. His clothes burned, even his hair was a bit singed. As the ninjas wondered what the hell happened, the world returned back to normal, as Naruto looked at his sister and Nora. We have 2 minutes before they arrive. The vehicle was rather large. There was a total of 30 seats inside. As Nora made her way, as she got a duffel bag, she ran back over to Naruko and handed her. Tell Karen that she's to place her mother in a secure room and begin treatment. As Karen had gotten farther advanced in more than anyone in this world. Yes sir, said Nora. As Naruto walked out of the vehicle, as his sister was behind him with the duffel bag. Good luck sir, said Nora, as she closed the door. And with that, they headed off to the Sky Kingdom. So, what now? Asked Naruko, as they watched as the vehicle vanished. But guys, I'm the end episode right here. If you want to make support, if you know what to do, like, subscribe, comment down below, and turn on that bell notification to stay posted. Remember, share to all of your friends and social media platform. But I'm all for now. See you guys soon. Peace.